the part of the Irish Connection radio show where we like to get up close and personal with some of the artists that we play their music here on the Irish Connection radio show. And today we're going to hook up with one of the newest artists on the American country music scene. It's a gentleman whose single we've been playing there for a couple of weeks, and we were very, very kindly sent it by him, and that is Gary McCarter. Gary, welcome to the Irish Connection radio show, and how's things over there in Oklahoma?
Thank you, Sean. It's great to be on here, bud. It's going good right now. Everything's great here. Getting a little hot. Summertime's kicking in over here.
And we, as I said before, we're so pleased to have been able to be one of the very first stations over in this part of the world to have the privilege and the pleasure of playing your music. And thank you so much, Eddie, for allowing us to do that.
Well, I sure do appreciate that, Sean. It's one of the greatest feelings in the world when I got that email from you and said y'all were playing my song, and we all listened online over here, and it was a very great experience.
Now, listen, tell us a little bit. I mean, you're a relatively newcomer to the American country music scene. Obviously, you've been very interested in it over the years, and you know you've got your favourites who you've been listening to. But exactly, tell us, how long have you actually been in the music business?
Since 1993.
So you're not as new a baby to the water as I thought you were.
Right. Yeah. Well, I've just been kind of doing it on my own since 1993, since I was about 17, and then I guess a few months ago, Gary LaBox from Rascal Flatts was nice enough to post my song on his Facebook page, and it just kind of took off from there. And now things have just gotten really, really interesting and fun and exciting for me.
How did you get to know Gary?
Just requested him on Facebook. A friend of mine told me which one was him, so I requested him, and we got to talking about my song one night through messaging, and the next day he posted on his Facebook, and that was very kind of him to do that, because he didn't have to do that for me, and I've had nothing but great success with it ever since.
No, because it must have been big for you, because like the size of Rascal Flatts and like the size of you, it's like ginormous, because obviously they're worldwide known. Their music sells in absolute bucket loads. They sell out concerts. I mean, they can play anything from a concert from 3,000 people to 30,000 people and sell it out quite easily. So there must have been a big bonus for you when somebody of his stature and, you know, with the band of like Rascal Flatts behind him, sort of decided, well, he'd try and give you a little helping hand into the business.
Yes, sir. Very exciting. The night that he posted it on his Facebook, I took my phone uptown and was showing everybody in our little town here. I was more than excited. I couldn't believe that he did it, and everybody here in our little town is very appreciative of him to do that for me.
Now, as I said before, like relatively newcomer, I mean, who are some of the influences that you've been listening to since like 1993 to give you the, you know, to make you go that little further ahead and to make a record for yourself?
Right. I grew up on Conway Twitty when I was a kid, and then growing up a little further, I got into George Strait really heavily. And George Strait was my main influence on my style of singing, and the reason that I just kept pushing and, you know, trying to make an album out of my music so everybody would like, you know, kind of see what I'm trying to sound like and the sound that I'm trying to push on everybody. But George Strait, Merle Haggard, and Conway Twitty, pretty much my three main influences.
Now, talking about who you sound like, I mean, to me now, you just sound like yourself, which is a lovely way, because as anybody will tell you in the business, and I mean, people told me when I started out DJing, you never try and sound like one of your influences, and I had loads of, believe it or not, it's a stupid thing to say, but I had guys who were DJs on radio stations that I looked up to and thought, well, you know, if ever I get to it, I'd like to be like them. And the people said, well, don't try and sound like them, because there's only one of them, and they don't want a second one. And so I thought, yeah, well, that's very true. The same with singing. I mean, when you're singing, you do actually just sing as yourself, which is great. You don't try and copy anybody, you don't put anything on. And the actual way it comes through on the actual, you know, the actual music as it comes out of the grooves is exactly what you want to listen to. I mean, again, it's a sort of very modern day sound in country music, which you're based in.
Yes, sir. I love the new country music, but I sure love that good old sound of that steel guitar and that fiddle on the new songs I'm doing. Man, I just love the good traditional sound of country music, the good, strong, smooth country voice, and I just try to do my best on it. I have been told before that I sound a little like George Strait, and I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to get my own sound, but that's hard to do these days. There's so many singers out there.
Yeah, well, there's I mean, talking of people that, I mean, I also am into a guy called Pat Waters, and I mean, he does sound you know, relatively similar to George Strait, but then again, he's still got his own little niche. And I mean, like, you look at George Strait, I mean, he's a great influence to look up to because he's had 60 #1 records on his 60th birthday, which is something astonishingly brilliant when you look at it. There's not many people that can say that as a reader. I mean, it's just like saying, well, I'm 35 and I've had 35 #1s. Well, there's not many people that can say that. But saying that, I mean, you're going in the right direction. I mean, you're recording music that it's pleasing to the ear. Now, let's talk about this brand new song, which, as I said, we've been playing for you. I mean, tell us the history behind the song.
Don't Let This Moment End is basically a song about two people that meet up on the dance floor at a Texas honky tonk, and they realize that, you know, they'd like to spend a lot more time together, but they can't due to other circumstances. So the only real great moment that they have to spend is every time they get on that dance floor and dance that one song. And they hate to go back home, but they know they have to. But it's just a true meaningful, heartfelt, you know, honky-tonk songs, what I call them over here. Great honky-tonk songs.
I mean, it's
a song on the dance floor. That's what everybody likes to dance to, so that's what I'm trying to lead my whole album towards. It's something everybody can dance to and relate to.
I mean, it'd be great. I mean, I can't wait. I mean, if you ever get the chance, if you ever do a video, I mean, the video, I mean, I can imagine how to do this video, and it would tell a story that would, you know, melt the heart of the most hardest person in the world. I mean, how did you get the song? Was it pitched to you? Did you get somebody that wrote a song and asked you, were you interested in recording a song? Or how did it actually come into the life of Gary McCarter?
This song came to the life of me through a honky-tonk in East Texas called the Silver Saloon. And that song actually happened at that bar. I had a friend who had a girl out on the dance floor telling him these exact words. And she didn't want to go back home that night. She wanted to stay with him, but she knew she had to go back home. And I just came home, and about a week later, I started thinking about it, and I was like, man, that's going to be a great song. And I wrote it out on paper. And then a year later, I recorded it. I let it sit for a year. And then a year later, I recorded it. But no, sir, it's all mine. I did that whole song.
Well done. And I mean, you did it as a solo project. You didn't bring anybody else in to help you with anything.
No, sir. Everything was me on that one.
Wow. And as you just said, like, I mean, you're obviously, as I said, now you've got that out, which is A Taste of the War, which, I mean, has got still a long life to go before. I mean, you're obviously going to be, you're thinking already, which I'm amazed at, you're thinking already about doing an album and more music. I mean, have you, since you wrote that particular song, has that gave you an appetite to write more music?
Yes, sir. It sure has. I have 5 songs that are completely finished and ready to be uploaded, and I'm working on my last 5. And then come August 31st, I will release my whole album up to iTunes and the rest of the stores that are selling it. So August 31st, my whole album will be ready.
Wow, I'm just blown away at that. I really am, because I mean that is brilliant. Because I mean, like, most people will release a single and they will sit there and they'll see how the single does, and then, you know, sometimes it takes people an awful long time to maybe do the next particular piece of music. But I'm very, very, you know, as I said, I'm very, very impressed with the way that you've done that. Now, talking of the recording of that, I mean, did you record it in Oklahoma? Did you go to Nashville to record it? Or did you record it in Texas? Whereabouts was it actually recorded?
I'm recording it in Arlington, Texas, just right in between Dallas and Fort Worth.
Right.
And a studio called CRT Studio. Tim Phelan, he's my producer down there. And this guy just has a great, great sound to him. We're recording it old school. He's got an old house that he made into a recording studio, and I can't tell you how happy and pleased I am with it. Well, I mean, you can hear my song. You can hear the kind of quality that comes out of that. He's just a really, really smart guy, and, you know, he helps me figure out what sound I want to put on my songs, and then we have all the studio musicians come in, which are awesomely talented guys, and they just work with me. They like to, you know, they like to hear what I've come up with next, and so far they've been proud of my songs, and I feel pretty proud of myself.
Now, before you recorded your song, I mean, you obviously, like, as you told me, I mean, you work during the day and that. I mean, do you actually go out and gig during the night? Do you do live performances at night or at the weekends or anything like that?
Yes, sir. I do Branson-style Missouri type shows, country music shows. So we have a place here in Oklahoma, in Ada, Oklahoma. It's called the McSwain Music Theater, and that's where I got my start. And that's where I still like to do my show. This is where Blake Shelton got his start. As a matter of fact, Blake Shelton and Miranda Lambert, they live here in our little town with us.
You serious?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
They have a little store here, and they have a ranch here, and they're in town all the time. And and they're just communicating with the people. Really nice folk, and it's awesome having them here in town with us.
Because, I mean, again, like, it's good for you because as a new artist, I mean, with Blake being on the American equivalent to The Voice, and again, having one of his artists win season 3, which is amazing because he had, you know, he had to win a lot on the last season, and now to go and actually do the same again this season, I mean, just proves the guy's got an ear for music, and he knows when there's a good singer and when there's not a good singer.
Yes, sir. And, you know, on top of being a great singer and entertainer and a funny guy like he is, he's actually a genuinely nice guy. When you see him in town, he'll stop and talk and chat with you. He'll take pics with your kids, and, you know, he'll stop and talk and tell a story to you. And, you know, he's very down-to-earth and genuine, too. Right. So that helps a lot with his thing.
I mean, talking of your town where you live in, I mean, what is the sort of overall capacity of the amount of people that live in your area? Is it?
We have about 3,000 people that live here. It's a real small town.
Wow. Gee, it is small. Oh, lovely. And I mean, that is lovely because it means people are more homely, they look after each other and stuff like that. I mean, I'm pleased, as I said, that's happened for you. And I mean, again, you hook up with Gary of Rascal Flatts, which means you're going the right way about it. And I mean, like, the one thing about it is you're going to keep pushing. You keep pushing the boat, which is what people want you to do. And I mean, when you do your shows yourself, I mean, and you do it in that little theatre, which, as I said, you started out on. I mean, what is it? Is it just a one-man show? Do you just do it yourself backed by the musicians that are based there, or how does that go about?
Yeah, they have a house band, and the house band is just great and awesome. And I have a lot of videos of myself at the McSwain Theater on my YouTube channel. And you can hear how, you know, just the quality of the band and the hometown feeling it has there. Everybody just feels comfortable, and they let you come up and demonstrate your songs, or you can do cover songs, just whatever you want to do. And, you know, just to entertain the crowd up there. And they always have a huge crowd, and everybody just loves it up there. It's great. It's a great place. I love that place to death.
Now, as I said before, you actually work during the day. What do you do during the day?
I actually build Michelin tires for a Michelin tire plant here in Oklahoma. They're based out of France, but we have plants over here in America.
Wow. How long have you been doing that?
Almost 14 years.
Wow. That's because I mean, it's the same with, well, from this side of the plant, we're here in Ireland. I mean, you can't really rely on one job to keep your head above water. You really have to have something to fall back on in case anything goes wrong. I mean, a lot of the Irish country musicians, a lot of them do it as, like yourself, work during the day and then like perform at night around the country and stuff like that. So it's great. I mean, so you've actually got the new single out. I mean, have you done which I talked about to you before, I mean, have you actually decided that you're going to do DVD for it, or, you know, to release to music television, or what's going to happen along that particular side of the road?
Yes, sir. After my full album releases August 31st, I had some guys in Dallas with a production company, and we're going to try to do the video to Don't Let This Moment In, and then we'll start pitching it around, and we'll have it on my YouTube channel, on my website, GaryMcCarter.com, and we'll just start going from there, and just see how big we can take it. I've had nothing but great response from this song, and I'm very fortunate that Gary LeVox did that for me, and we're just going to go as far as we can.
Well, I hope from me to you, I hope you go all the way, because the song is wonderful. I love the song. I love the storyline that runs in it. I love it now that you told me about the song, how it actually came to be, which is wonderful. And I mean, you know, as I said, we're going to keep playing it over here on the Irish Connection radio show. And Gary, thank you so much indeed for becoming a guest on the Irish Connection radio show. And we thank you so much indeed for that for us.
John, I can't thank you enough, buddy. I appreciate this opportunity. It's been great talking with you, buddy.
And it has been indeed a pleasure. Now, listen, just to round things up, you as the artist, you announce your song and we will play out with it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this here is my first single I just released. It's called Don't Let This Moment In.
And with that, once again, Gary McCarter, thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it, buddy.
Take care. Bye-bye, buddy.
As we step out on the dance floor, you take my hand, I can tell from now it won't be long.